So welcome back to this particular Excel dashboard class where we actually use this particular guided project from Maven Analytics. So the result we are trying to achieve is this particular two dashboards you can see right on your screen. So those particular dashboards are very dynamic. I'm going to show you how to actually have them created from A to Z. So if you have not watched my first video, you might want to take a look at how to actually, get your data transformed. Not just that, you would have to look at how to actually, get data downloaded from here. So if you don't have a pro version or you don't have an upgraded account with them, you can get it downloaded. I'm going to share the data with you. So we're going to be working with free data, but right now I'm going to be working with the pro data from Maven guided project. So let's get it. All right, let us create a worksheet for our dashboard. So click on the plus here. Now have this renamed to dashboard. So once you have done that, we have to go to the top ribbon. So click on view. From view, click on this particular headings here to have it removed. And the next thing you have to remove here is the grid lines. So we have just done that. We have something as plain as this. So at default, Excel will give you something like this. So if you want to make it look like a real dashboard, you have to make sure you click over here. It depends on the kind of screen you have and the version of Excel you have. So over here, you click on auto hide ribbon. I'm using Excel 2021, so you can use something beyond from 19 to 2021 will be fine. Excel 365, you can follow up so well, and you have new functions as well. Okay, let us concern ourselves about the color right now. I already have my colors in place, so look at this particular one here. So if you open up the file you downloaded, you're going to see colors right in there. Then that is exactly what you're going to use. Okay, over here I have some group of colors here. Then the first color I'm going to use is this particular one. So I want to pick up the color code from here. You can right click and you go to format or you control 1. So once you click over here now, you go to more colors and you can copy the color code from here to use, right? So once you've done that, you just go ahead and cancel. So let's go over to dashboard environment. So once we are here, we do Control A. So what Control A does is to highlight the whole cells we have inside this particular worksheet. So once we have done that, we right click and go to this particular format cell here. And now we can actually change it from here by going over to fill and we go to more colors and we click over to custom and we can paste in our color code right here. Then we click on OK. So, OK here. So if you look at it right now, it's not as white as what it is before. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go to the top here. And from here, I click on insert. Then over here, I click on illustrations, then shapes. Now I take this particular rectangle. So once I've done that, I'm going to just drag it in here and bring it below here. Then I'm going to just drag it all the way to the top. Something like this. So I'll just make it a bit smaller right here just to create something very fancy for me here. Okay, I have something like this. I'm going to just do a duplicate of it. So once I've done that, I'm going to move the duplicate and make this way. Just watch me do it. So I'm just going to keep something like this. I'll bring it to start from here. So once I've done that, I just have to make sure I bring it all the way right in here. Something that will be enough for me to actually, have some kind of something at the top of it. So once I'm done now, I can hold my control key to select both of them, Control 1, then come over to here and go to line and say no line. Over to the fill color, I choose white. So check it out. It looks like this, but this is not giving me something very, beautiful that will interest me. So what I'm going to do is to click on this particular first one, go over to here. Now click on shadow, then click over here. Now we're going to take a shadow coming to the right-hand corner, the offset. So if I click on it right now, it's going to give me something like this. It looks a little bit weird. I don't like this. So let's click back on it. And now we are back here. We just have to visit this particular place. Let us put this at 90. So 90 looks quite okay. I think this is beautiful. I love this. So let's just go over here now. And I'm going to click over to this particular preset. I will choose the one that has the offset to the bottom. So we just have to do here. I'm going to do 95 for this one. 95. So 95 looks quite okay for me. So this is what I want. Okay, the next thing we have to do right now is to create some couple of KPIs. So we want to create 3 KPIs. Don't forget to reference back to your OneNote if you have it. If you created this particular sketch on paper, you have to reference this. So we have 1, so we have 2, and we have 3 right in here. Okay, let's do it. So let's go up here and get this particular one, drag it down. Let's come over here. So when I do 0.96, so we do that by 2.16, and it's going to give us something like this. So if you look at it right now, it has a rounded corner. We just want to reduce that. So I'm just going to go ahead and have this reduced like this. Okay, once we have this now, we can actually position it right here. So we want to make a way for the header. Something like this will be okay. So over here is going to contain our header. So our title rather. So let's go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we'll take this particular text box here. So I'm going to type in NYC collision dashboard here. So once I've done this now, let's go ahead and crank it up a little bit. Something like this will look okay. So now we just have to make sure we reduce this and we push it right in here to make sure it sits right over here. Then we go over here and we say no fill and no fill for the line. All right, I think this one looks okay for me. So I can just bring this one down a little bit. So once I've done this now, I'm just going to go ahead and do copy. And I'm going to move this one over here and have this one moved here. So for the time being, I think I'm quite okay with this. So we can adjust things later after all, but for now, we are good to go with this. So all I'm going to do is to hold my control key to select the 3 of them, go to the top ribbon, click on shape format and click on align, then you align to the top, right? So once you have done that, you distribute, horizontally. So we can shift things around after now, but for now, we just want to go with this. Okay, let's talk about the color we're going to use. So we want to use color for the total collision, another color for the casualty, and for the injuries. So let's go over to the color. So over here, this color should be for my total collision, right? So this particular color here should be for my casualty, and over here, this is for my injuries. So I can actually copy this and go over to my dashboard, then paste them down here. So with this now, we should have the color already available. So if I click on this now and do Ctrl+1, and I can click over here. So we don't have the color existing here right now, and there is no color picker from here to be used. So what we can do right now is to make sure we select this particular one here. Then we go over here, we click on this, and we just pick the color using the format painter. So here we go. So for this particular one here, we have to select this, and here we go. So for this very one, we select this, and here we go. Okay, nicely done. So now we are not going to have this particular color available listed here. Oh, they're not listed yet, but no problem. We already have them, so we can use them anytime we like. Let's do this, delete. Okay, so what is next right now? It is time for we to start analyzing our data and bring up the KPI, but not so fast. Let's quickly go over to the top ribbon here, click on insert, and over here illustration, let's do shapes again. And now we pick up the circle. So hold your shift key to draw a perfect circle. Just drag this and release it. So I'm going to just move this one and keep it over to here, just like this. You see that right now? So once I've done that, I'm just going to say no line. And over here, I want to select this particular color that represents the color of my background. So now we just have to double it by clicking on Ctrl D. So we push this one over here. I can move it down for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. So duplicate it again. And once I've done this now, I can just go ahead and select by holding my Control key. So now bringing it down means that I want to size it up with this particular one. So what I'm going to do now is to go to the top ribbon, align, then click on align top. So if you now look at it right now, they are on the same, size at the top. So with this right away, we're going to actually bring in our icons. So let's go over to the top ribbon, insert. Now we go for illustrations and shapes. Oh no, not this, my bad. Let's go to pictures and now this device. So do you remember the three the icons you have inside the listing downloaded? Let's go ahead and pick it up. So I'm going to just choose Maven. Oh no, not this one. Let's do it again. So icons. So I can bring all the icons. So I'm going to go with this one. So if you look at the icons are already, named. So we have icon for accident, we have icon for this rate, we have an icon for another accident here again, we have a car doing collision, we have a clock. So this is for a reason. So let's pick up this particular one for accident here. Let's ask this one here, and let's go with this. So you now see how this will come to play. Now we click on insert. Can I bring this over to here and make it look smaller? All right, so deselect and separate them. So over here now, we want to actually get this one for the total accident. So I'm gonna bring it in here and resize it to fit into here. So now, can you look at this now? So this one now should actually gonna be for the death rate. So we can just go ahead and have this right here. Right? So over here now, this is for the people that got injured. So I'm going to keep this over here. Nicely done. Beautiful, right? So this has given us go ahead to start bringing in the listing. So over here, I'll go to the top ribbon, insert. We are going to insert here this text box. So it's just going to be here like this. So the next thing right now is to actually open up a new worksheet. And over here, we're going to name this to be some kind of analysis 01. So we're going to have two of them, but for now, we're having the first one. Okay, going back here right now, we have to create our first pivot table. Then all we have to do is just to go to the top ribbon here and click on insert. And from insert, we just go over here to click on this particular pivot table. And it's asking us if we want to actually create this on a new worksheet. But for me, it's no. So I'm going to click existing worksheet. Then we go over to the worksheet here. Let's select something like here and click on OK. All right, everyone, we just created our first pivot table ever. Right? So you can quickly name a pivot table to make it easy for you to connect a slicer, when you are, or when you're done with your dashboard and you want to create some kind of filter between them. So going over to the top here right now, we can click over here and this pivot table is named as pivot table 1. I can just call this one KPIs. That is all. All right, let's create our KPI. Remember, this particular KPI is not part of the objective of the dashboard, but something we just wish to actually add to make or to spice it up a little bit. So to do that now, we can use this particular collision here. The question is this: why are you using collision? Collision is actually the ID for every single thing that happened, every single accident. So all the rows in the data set has data. So if you choose to use a particular column that does not have data all through the columns, that's going to be a difficult thing, right? So I'm going to drag this and put it over here, and automatically it's going to default to sum because what we have here is just nothing but a number. If you look at it right now, it's giving us collision ID. You get it now? All right, going back to analysis right here, we can just click over here and look at this value field settings. So once you click on it, you change it to count and you click on OK. So now we have this instead. So what do? We can just go ahead and do Control 1 and do number. Then we do here number. So we don't want any decimal number. So we just put 0 over there. We use comma separator. Then we click on OK. So over here now, we have gotten this. So the next thing we want to do right now is to check if this is actually involve injuries or there is some kind of casualty, whatever. Then how do we get that done? If we go over here right now, we can scroll through to the right-hand corner, and over here you have those particular columns. If you check them out, those columns I just highlighted right now. So we have injuries, we have our injured persons and the numbers of casualty right here. So where you have 0 means there are no casualties, and where you have 1 would actually give us the numbers of casualty we have for that particular collision or accident, right? So what we're going to do right now to know the total injuries and total casualties we have, we just want to use this particular column, not those particular one. So if you look at those ones here, they are for either pedestrians or injured, killed, cyclist injured, the killed one, motorist, and as well this. Okay, let's go back to our analysis here. Now we have to scroll all the way down and we check where we have persons. So we're going to drag this particular one in here and we drag this particular one in here. Okay, if you look at it right away, what we have here is actually on sum, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want to use count. Watch what happens if I turn either of them into count. So count will give me the same number as this one, but not the same number. If you look at it right now, it's different. So why is it different? Let's just take a look at it. So over here, if I just click over here now and scroll down, we have some couple of blanks. Let us see the reason for the blanks. So all you have to do is to actually go this and you scroll all the way down. You click on blanks, you click on OK. So the blanks happen as a result of no record. So, and I'm going to tell you first time that whenever you see blank on value area, the blank is equals to 0. Even though if there is no 0 sitting right there, it's automatically 0. Right? So that is exactly what happened. So if you actually listen carefully when I was telling you about what you can do to actually have this particular count of collision created, I told you you can actually use a column, you know, there are some kind of consistent data inside the rows. And that was why we choose collision ID, because we know for sure for every single, incident, we have record for the ID. Right? So don't choose a particular column that you know we are going to be having some kind of blank rows. And that's exactly what actually played out right here, right now. Although we are not looking forward to actually create it as a count. Instead, we want to take it back to the sum. So we are using sum to know the numbers of the injured persons and now the numbers of casualties that we have. Okay, we have all of this. This is exactly what we really want to actually have. So the next thing right now is to represent this inside our dashboard. So quickly, if you want to make sure you clean this particular place up right now, you can click over here and do Ctrl H and type in sum of, which means what we're trying to do right now is to remove the sum of from here. Then you say replace all. So it has been removed from here. So if you want to remove the count here, now you can remove it. But in my own case, I want to just make sure I double click on this one and just say total. I don't know if I get it right. Pollution. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Better. Now, when somebody comes to the back end, we want this particular place to look as neat as whatever, over here. So what we can do right now, I want to set here some kind of color like this. So which means whatever is here is here. Whatever is here is a different thing entirely. So I just love to do something like this. So once we have gotten this right here, right now, the next thing we have to do is to go over to our dashboard and look at how we can represent it right in here. So over here now, I can manually type in what I want here. So I'm going to type in total collisions. And once I've done that, I'll go over to the top and I'll just increase this particular size a little bit. So something like this will look quite okay. And I want to choose to use it on white color. So next I'm going to drag it over here. And you look at it right now, it's not beautiful. So we do Ctrl 1. Then we remove the outline out of it. So we can just adjust it a little bit. So once we are done and we like it, this is good. So we can duplicate this for this particular part here. So now this is gonna be so once we are done, we duplicate this one and we change this one to so you get it now. So here we go, nicely done. So we want to make sure the space we have here is actually equal to this one. So which means I'm going to bring this one backward. So move this one forward. All right, we have this. So if I hold my control key, I see a plus. I can just go ahead and drag this down. This will actually create for me a duplicate. So now we can go to here, go to view, go to here, and now we pick it up this. And we just go ahead and reference this one and click on OK. So watch what happens. Do we have to actually go back there again? I guess no. We just duplicate this one and we have it over here. So we duplicate this one again. We have it over here. So once we have done this now, this is sitting on D. We can change this one to E. So we have a different number. This one now, instead of D, we have F. So we have a different number. Let me show you how it works. Going over here right now, we have this one sitting on D, on E, and on F. So that is what we have done here. Okay, this is looking very beautiful right now. The next thing we have to do is to make sure we change the font color of our values. And after that, we change the size. So let's go over here. So we click over here. So I'm going to just choose a different font type. Let's go to the top. So we have the one that has light. And let's do 24. So let's go ahead and choose white. Then once we are done, we are good to go. This looks quite okay. So we can keep it over here. Then go over here, double click on it, and have it on this one, and have it over here as well. Then the KPI is ready. So we have gotten our KPI done. Can you see now? So our KPI has been created. Nicely done. Okay, now it is time for we to go to what we were asked to do, which means we have to look at our first objective. So we are right back on the first objective right here. So the first objective says identify seasonal patterns. So your first objective is to calculate the number of collisions by month and year and visualize them using line charts. So this is what you have to do. You have to actually calculate the count of collision ID by year and month and visualize it using a line chart. And the thing that is very important in this particular aspect is for you to filter out the incomplete month of April 2023. And after that, you have to modify the line chart so that each year is shown as a separate line. And once you're done, you have to apply formatting to finalize the chart and summarize insight from the analysis. So I think in everything, this is the part where you have to do some kind of much more advanced work. So this particular one here is something very simple that anybody can actually come up with. But right here, we have to give out insight. And this particular insight should be very dynamic. So how do we do that? Let us take a look at it. So if we go back here now, we can reuse this particular pivot table we have right here by just doing copy using Ctrl+C, and we come over here to paste it. So I want to paste mine over here. So Ctrl+V to paste. So once I have pasted this particular one right now, I don't need this particular one. I don't need this one as well. All I need is just the one you have right now, which is the total collision. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to bring in the date right in here, right? So I want to bring in the date. I'll drag the date and keep it right in here. And automatically it's going to actually create some kind of grouping for me. So if you don't want this particular grouping and you want to group it to something else, you can right click and just say ungroup. So when you ungroup, it will ungroup everything and give you normal date. But in our own case, we want to group it. So let's go ahead and group. So we can group by day, we can group by quarter, you can group by year. And once you click on OK, it's going to be grouped and all the groups will be right here for you. So in this particular situation, based on what we have seen on the date, on the instruction of the objective, we can remove quarter away from here. We can take off the date from here. And now we have the month and the year. So with the kind of chart we want to create, the year should be dragged into the column area. So we're going to have something like this. So this is not looking beautiful at all because we don't want to actually have this particular grand total here. It's going to make things look worse. So to remove it now, you can actually right click and you see where it says remove grand total. You do the same thing to the one at the bottom here. So you now go for remove grand total. So is this enough? Oh, a little bit. So if you look at it right here, right now, it's actually giving us row label, which we don't actually want. We want to make sure it's giving us or reporting the right column name. So to do that now, you click over here, go to the top ribbon. So go to design and we click over here. We just choose to use the show in tabular form. So right now we have the month as a header right here. Okay, so what happens if I decide to go ahead and actually create my pivot table with this? So now I can just go ahead and create a line chart, which is going to be this particular line chart here. So if you look at it, we have this particular one going down, right? So what do you think is the problem here? Let us take a look at it from our main data source. So this is going to be the data for 2023. So if we go over here, so we filter through the date and we only select 2023. And once we click on OK, it only filters down to 2023. So right now we go back again. We actually just do this and we want to go ahead and filter by April. So we click on OK. So once we filter by April, we can now see that the most dates in April, if we further bring it down again and click over this particular plus again, and we go down, this is actually just 9th day of April. It stopped at 9th day of April, right? So let me clear filter from this particular date column. We have done that. So let's go back now to here. So can you check out this particular part here? So check out here. So it says filter out the incomplete month of April 2023, which means we have to filter out the month. So, but the question is this, how easy do you think it's going to be for we to filter it out from here? So if we decide to filter it out now, so there is no way we can do it over here. So if we decide to bring the month, and we feel like we are wise enough to actually bring the month in here, the month will be removed from here. So which means we can't apply filter over here. So now this is the time for us to start thinking of what to do. This has to do with our thinking ability. So guess what we can do to have this particular one here that is not completely removed? Anyone with idea? No, I just have something doing. Keep thinking, keep thinking. Okay, if you don't have anything to bring, I think somebody just guessed right. So let me show you what you can do. Let us delete this away from here. So right now we cannot use this particular pivot table, but we're going to use it. So this is the value we have to remove from here, right? We don't have to remove the month, but we have to remove the value from here. Then it will not be plotted for April, right? If I just decide to delete, look at what I have. So we can't make this change for the selected cell because it will affect the pivot table. Okay, that is nice. So the next thing we can do right now is to actually duplicate this particular table, but make it dynamic. So if you're using any version of Excel from 2019 to 21 and above, you can actually use, dynamic array. So I'm just going to put an equal sign here and reference this particular part here. Then hit my enter key and it will spill this out for me. Can you see this now? So once I have gotten this now, I can just take this off from here. But it's not working again. It doesn't allow me. So this should have been the fastest way to actually have this done. But because I'm using dynamic array, I can't delete any part of this. It is just going to be like the pivot table we have created and we try to actually get this deleted by clicking on delete on our keyboard. So what do we do instead? So we just have to delete it from here. So now we have to manually create this. So I'm going to reference this particular part. So hit my enter key, and I'm going to just drag this one to this particular part here. And once I've done that now, I'll make sure I create for 2023. I'll drag it all the way down to here. So right now, we can just go ahead and delete from this particular part here to here. So this has actually created what we want for us, right? So I'm just going to make sure I have this one to be bold. And over here, those particular values should actually be on comma separator to keep the back end very neat. So no extra decimal number. So here we go. We have something like this. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to create my chart with this particular area. So just go over here, insert, and now insert a line chart. I want to insert this particular kind of line chart for a reason. So if I do that, this is what we have. So if you look at that particular one that came down this week at a time, it's actually gone right now because we have taken it off. Okay, we have this. It is time for me to refine this. So the legend is very, very important. We want to keep the legend. So the question is this: how do we keep this particular legend, and how do we make it look beautiful? So I wouldn't necessarily need to keep this particular axis here because I want to actually identify the max and the lowest value, so I can delete it. So go over here and take off the particular grid lines. So for the legend, I want to make sure I move it to the left, right hand corner rather, like this, right here. So now I can just go ahead and do something like this. Okay, we have each line plotted for us. This is looking some kind of beautiful already. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is that I want to highlight the highest value area for every single year. So which particular month has the highest collision or the highest accident, wherever it is. That was why I created this particular kind of a line chart to be very easy for me to do that. If you have been watching my videos before now, you would have seen me done this. So this is not the first time. Let us take off this particular title from here. We don't need it. Okay. With this here right now, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go over here and add a new column to it. So we're going to be adding 3 different columns. So I'm going to do 2021 max. So if I drag this one to here now, so we have 22-23 max right in here. Okay. So once we have done that now, we just have to create it once and we'll replicate it for others. So it's something very simple. All we're looking for is just the max area. So what is max? Max is the highest value in your range or in your data range. So if I just go ahead and do max right now, and I reference this particular part for 2022. So what I have here is 9471 is the max. You get it right now. But we want this to be dynamic. Specifically, when we place the slicer, we want the slicer to affect the max that will be returned. So how do we go about it? So this is where we can actually use the if condition to get things done. Let's try it. So over here, I'm going to just say if. So I'm doing for 2021. I want to ask if this particular number here is equals to this particular max right here. So instead of me to reference this particular max, I would rather type in the max in here to further calculate the max again. So once I've done that, I'm just going to highlight this particular environment because I want to avoid moving of the cell. So we create absolute cell referencing using the F4 key. The F4 key should work for you. If it doesn't work for you, you can have it done manually. But guess what? How do you do it? So it's very simple. Can you see this now? This is just a dollar symbol. So you just have to make sure you surround the column with dollar symbol. Can you see? Column Q, the starting point and the end point has dollar symbol all through. That is how you can get this. Once you have done that, you can just go ahead and close and add a comma. So it's going to ask you if this is true that this particular 7719 is equal to the max, which is this one right here. What do you want to return this? So when you reference this, don't lock it down because you want this to be copying down, to be moving, to make it dynamic every single time. So otherwise right now, maybe just say, give me nothing. So you can decide not to specify anything here, or you can just decide to specify something. But in my own case, I'll just go ahead and click on this. it's going to give me false. So this false here is not an ideal. So don't worry, I'm going to show you what to do, but you have to know this first. Okay, just go ahead and copy this down. Guess what? We have this. So this one is looking at 2021. So if we just go ahead and just move this one to here right now. So look at the number we have here. The same actual number we have right in here. Can you look at that? That is beautiful. Okay, how do we make sure we represent this particular one inside here? So what do? We are doing for 2021. So I'm going to right click here and go over to select data. So once I've done that, I'll click on add. So I'll add 2021 max. And over here, I'm going to just delete this one from here. Then now I'm going to reference this particular part. Then now we have something like this. I'm going to click on OK. Over here, click on OK. So because we have this particular false, it's going to give us this particular weird lines right in here. And what we want is not those particular lines, but just this little dot right in here. So what do? How do we fix this? It's simple. So instead of us to have nothing after this particular, if the result is true over here, so I'd rather have just give me blank. Let's see if this will work. So we have just gotten blank in here. So blank seems to be equals to 0. So not seems, blank is equals 0 automatically. So if we ask now that, okay, let's do this. So let's say over here, we have not typed anything here. So I'm going to say is equals blank. I'll reference here and click on this. So it's giving me false. Can you see now? It's giving me false all true. And over here, this particular place is equals blank because there is no formula or functions used here. So it's giving me true, that is equals blank. All this one says true, that, which means it's not blank. That means something is sitting here like 0. So what do? If I double click here now, I'll come over here and add NA. So you close the bracket for NA and hit your enter key. So now I'll just copy it down. So despite that it's still giving me some kind of NA here right now. So now if you look at it, it's still giving me false. So this should actually work for this. Can you see? It's gone. It has deleted this. This is the only thing that can do it. It's not still blank, but this NA will trigger it not to give us any value showing up here. So now we have a color that corresponds to color for the 2021 max here. So let us quickly look at how to actually get this done. So over here now, I want to work on this particular color. So before I do that, let us actually conclude on the color we want for this particular whole chart here. So I'm going to do Ctrl+1, bring this up, and over here, we choose to go with this particular. Do we have the color? Let's go to our color here. And the color I want to use is this particular color. So I can color it, I can copy the color code here. So the color code copied. So let's do it by going over here. So now select it by just selecting this, not the circles. So go over here and line. So we just go ahead and paste this one. Ctrl V to paste. So now we've chosen the color. Okay, once we have done this right now, we want to go ahead and remove those circle that is in blue. So delete key, oh sorry, that delete key will not do it. So I wanted to remove it, it will not do it. So, but let us go over to here and now go to marker. So instead of me going to marker, I'll just go to this particular no line. So no, not this. So I will go to marker here. So once I am on the marker, for the fill, I'll say no fill on the marker area. So for the border, I'll say no border on the marker area. You have to be on the marker here to get that done. Once you have done that, we only have this particular ones, active now. So we click on the one that is active. We go over here, we go to the marker again, and right away, once we are here, we click on the marker options and we choose this particular bulletin, and we just increase the size. So I'm going to choose to go with just this, let's go with 10. 10 is okay. So this particular 10 now, we have to change its color by going down. We just go ahead and change the color to the same color we have here. So we have done that. We go over here and we change the color for the outline. So this is what we have. So we have highlighted this particular part here. So if you look at how easy it is right now, so this one is going to be more easier. Let us do for 20. So once we have done that, we have to just make sure we select the legend here and have it deleted. We don't need it. So to replicate the same thing for other ones, so let us go ahead and delete this one. So all I have to do now is to just make this one smaller. So come over here and duplicate by copying this. So we have to paste this over here, and now we're just going to push this one to 2022 and push this particular one to 2022. Push the last one here, hit my enter key, then double click on this one, and this one should go for 2023. And over here, we move this. We just move this right here. I'm going to click on OK. So watch what happens if I just go ahead and double click, it copies down, and it's actually pointing to the months that has the highest values. Okay, quickly, we just have to do this again. So right click over here, select data, click on add, and add the one for 2022. So you just delete or backspace, and you select for this particular one. Then you click on OK. You click on OK right here. Quickly, we have gotten it. So once we just click on this particular line now, for this line, I want to leave it at this particular color. So what I'm going to do now is just to make sure I maximize it for you to see what we are doing here. So if I click on this here, I want to aim the dotted line. So Ctrl+1, then I'll click over here. I'll go to marker. Once I'm on marker now, I'll click on this and just say over here, I don't want to see any dot, then as well the outline. So successfully they are gone. So I'm going to focus on this one. Remember, we are using 10. So we go over to here. So we go to marker. So right now we just choose this. We choose the bulletin. So we're going to use 10. And once we use 10, we just have to make sure we select the color for it. And we choose to do for the outline. We select the same actual color for it. Or you can decide to just take off the border or the outline. So we have done this right here. So finally, the next one now is for we to right click over here, select data, and click on add again. Then we just select this one, and over here we just do this, and we select this particular environment here. Then we click on OK. We click on OK here. We do the same exact thing by selecting this particular one, Ctrl+1. We go over marker, no. So over here, so we have to make sure we click on this particular one, then click over here. Then finally, we have to make sure we put this one on 10. So once we are done, now we are using the gray color. So we want to go down and choose to use a gray color like this here. So we just go for no border on this. So we have something like this right here, and it is good enough to go to our dashboard. So we don't want to actually keep the legends right here. We have to remove the legends here. So just double click and have it removed. Have this one removed. So for the main legend, we want to leave those ones right in here. So if we go back here right now, we have done justification to the first objective. What we have not done justification to right now is to actually apply formatting and finalize the chart and summarize insight from the analysis. So we have to summarize insight from the analysis. We have not done that, but we have to position this on our dashboard first. So I'm just going to make sure I resize it. So go over to the dashboard environment. I'm going to drop it right in here. And it is time for we to agree on the size we want to use. So let's go over here, insert here, shapes, and pick up this, drag it down. For we to be on the same page, go over here. Let's do 2.43. We do that by 4.9. So here we go. We have something like this. So I'm going to position this right here. So if I want to be exact, I can do something like this. and make sure there is a space that is wider than what we have here. So now I can click on this one, hold my control key, select this one here, go over to the top ribbon, now align. We align to the left hand corner. So it's going to position this rightly for us. So now we click on this now, and we choose to use the white color and no outline. So beautiful, we have something like this. But if you look at it, it's fitting into this particular color we have right here. We have to make sure we pull it off from the background a little bit. So let's go over to the effect and click over here. So we choose the one that has this particular offset center. So once we have done that, let us put this at 95 or 98, and let's see what we have. 98. So 98 looks better. So now it's pulling itself out from the background. So we can decide to actually, reduce this to 97, 95. So I'm using 95. So I think I'm going to go with 95. So now we have to pick up this particular one. So right click and say bring to front. So we move this forward, bring to front. We now have this over here. So you can stretch this to this level here. So now next again is for me to go over to here and take off the fill and now take off the border. So if you go, you have something like this. So you can click over here now and reduce the inner part of it this way. All right, so once we have gotten this done, it is time for me to bring up the title. So the title now, I'm going to duplicate this particular one. So keep it somewhere around here and change its color. So let's go with something like this. So I'm going to bring this one here. So reduce the size to this. So here, I'm going to type in monthly versus yearly collisions trend. So something like this looks quite okay. So this here does not really leave room to people to make some kind of decision. So we have to actually add something that will help the end user to make decision, which is something very, very important. All right, if you look at what I have on my screen, this is just something similar to what we're about to do. I want to break it down so that you can actually understand exactly what we're about to get into. So I want to create some kind of yearly collision peaks or year-month collision peaks right here. So from 2021, I want to extract the max month, which is the month we have the highest collision. In 2022, we extract the month with the highest collision and the numbers, and as well for 2023, and we make recommendation on what could be done to avert such a thing. Then that is what the end user is very interested in, not the trend per se. So how do we get this created? This has to be dynamic. When this changes, we actually want the change to affect our recommendation or our so-called caption. So how do we go about this? Let's just keep this over here. So I'm just going to drag this one and have it here. All right, let's start from the bottom here. So this one is not really important. For the first time, let me show you the instance we are going to use. So over here, I'm going to do max. So I'm going to do position. I'm going to do max month. Then over here, I'm going to do results. Okay, my results should be something that is a different place. Okay, now those are all the things we need to actually have something done. So this particular max will be drawn for every single year. So let's take, for example, we want max for the year 2021. So what we need to do is to actually use max function here to retrieve what we have here as the max value. So you get it now. So we have returned max value for 2021. So what we really want right now, we want to get a position of this particular max. This will actually help you to create a very dynamic caption. So over here now, to get a position, we use the match function. So the match function now is asking for the for what you're looking for, its position. That is the lookup value. We can type in our lookup value, so which is this particular one here. Then it's asking you for the lookup array. So where can we find this? You can find it right in here, right? So next, now we want exact match. We put 0, we close, and we hit our enter key. So to make it easy right now, what we're going to do in the formula is not referencing back this particular one. Instead, we're going to be doing this. So we do match function here. So the match function is looking for the lookup value. We're going to be using the max direct in here, and the max references this particular part here. So closes it, and it's going to ask us for the array. The array right now should be the same place, which is going to be this very one here. And comma, we use 0 for the exact match, we close. This is what we're going to be using inside the formula instead. It's still going to return the same 6 for us. Can you see now? So the next thing we have to do right now is to return the month that has the max value. So this particular position will actually help us to do that. So let me show you what you can do in 2 ways. So now, to get this particular month returned, we use index. If you have been watching my videos, you must have seen me use this a lot. So the index is going to help you to return something. It's looking for the array. What do you want to return? Where is it sitting? That is what the array is talking about. So we want to return something from here. So put a comma right on it. It's asking for the row number you want to use to return this. We can choose to use this as our row number. And again, so which particular column? That is the next thing. So we have used row number now. Which particular column do you want to return something from? So we are going to forget about a particular column. So let's take this off. So let me do it again. Let's do index. The array should be where we want to return something from here. So the row number should be this particular one here. So here we go. We have the row number. If I close and hit my enter key, it's giving me June. But this is not how it's going to look like inside our formula to make it dynamic. So we're going to do this now. So index. So once I have gotten the index, what I want to return is actually from here. So we want to use the match function to return something. We type in the match just like what we have done before. So what are we trying to use match for? The match is going to return the position of something. And that position should actually be the max value. So the max value now should be found using the max function, and it's going to select the max value from here. So we close, and when we actually do the match function to return the max value, we tell it to actually return the array. So you get it now? So we have actually checked the max value, so which is this, the lookup array right now. What is it looking for? So we go over here to say this is the lookup array. Then over here, we use 0 for the exact match. And it's returning the same exact thing here. So you have to understand this before we start creating this. This is not a video where you just have to watch and within 2-3 minutes you're done with it. You just have to, spend some time doing this. It can take you 1 week to actually get it done, but no problem. So all you have to do is to watch and make sure you practice. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, like or share, or leave a comment. Leaving a comment is something very important to me. Please go ahead and do that right now. All right, I've shown you the skeleton part of what we're about to achieve. Right now, I'm going to be calling this one the result or insight. So this is what we really want. It is time for we to do the right thing. Okay, so there is something I want to show you that is very important. You see this particular thing here called, I think I'm going to use caps. So I'm going to use this a lot. So maybe your question will be like, what is the functionality of this? This is actually for a line break. When you want to create some kind of line break between what you're doing to have a new line, using this will be perfect. So I'm going to be using this particular one to do line break. Try to remember this. I can actually go ahead and move this from here to this particular part. Take a look at it. Okay, now it is time for we to get it, started. So before we go on, I want to use some symbol, and that symbol could be found using your Windows key. The full stop on your system or on your PC could actually help you do that. So once you have this now, you can actually get some couple of symbols from here. Can you see now? There are lots of symbols you can actually use right here. Can you see them? Lots of them. So I might choose to use this one for what we are doing. So here we go. So for now, it's not yet the time. So I'm going to put my equal sign here. So what I need to do right now is to say, you know what? I want to get the year-month collision peaks. So what I need to do right now is to actually, first of all, create some kind of headings, if I'm not mistaken. So inside here is a text. So I'll do year/month collision peaks. So if I go ahead and close and hit my enter key, all I have is just this. It doesn't really make any sense for now. So if I double click on it right away, what I'm going to do now is just to say, okay, I want to concatenate this and create a line break. To create my line break right now, I use this particular char and 10 inside it, I close. So if I want to have 2 line breaks, I create 2 of these. But I'm just going to have 1 for now. For an instance, I actually add something else here. So this will actually help me to some kind of have a line break. So the next thing now is for me to actually have my first, caption or my first insight for 2021. So what am I going to have for 2021? For 2021 right now, I want to say, okay, the year 2021. So we have to put this right here to actually just say we are interested in the year 2021. So what we want to do right now is for we to return the max results. I don't know if you get me right. So we want to return the max month. So to return the max month now for this particular year, what we need to do is for we to actually say, okay, we want to use and the ampersand here to concatenate something else to it. Then, sorry, was it dollar sign? No, ampersand here. So we're going to use index. The reason why this is not giving us some kind of suggestion was because we have not closed this, if I'm not mistaken. So if I now use this now, I type index, so you can now see this. Whenever you're not seeing it, that means you have made a mistake somewhere. So the index now, based on what we have done here, we want to return this particular result. How did we do it? So we did index, and we say we actually want to return the month with the highest value right here, right? So comma. So the row number now, to determine the row number, we have to use the match function. So the match function is looking for the lookup value. So the lookup value now would actually use max to return one number, and that one number is this particular number here. So how do we do that? We put match here. So we put max here. That max will go into this particular part here to return the max value. So we don't need to lock down because we're not trying to copy. You get it now? So we close, and that is actually just our max. So it's now asking us that, okay, if that is your lookup value, where can we find this? We now go back again and reference this particular part. You get it right now. We reference it again and we say, give us the exact match by giving it 0. Then we close. So once we have gotten this done, if I hit my enter key right now, I should have, this. But if you look at it right now, this particular one here is not looking beautiful. So what can we do to make sure that particular line break we actually added works? So I'm just going to expand this. It doesn't really work. So to see the result right now, I can push this into, let's go ahead and insert a card. So we insert a card here. Just insert a card over here. And inside here, I'm going to do equals. And can you see? So we have this jump into a new line. So to have the result inside your Excel worksheet, so you just have to come over here, insert, home. Then from home, we just do wrap text. Now you can see what we have here. So if I just drag this now, so you can see we have 2 lines. So that 2 lines happened because we use this particular char 10 right in here. Can you see it now? Right. So let us actually keep writing this. So we have actually retrieved the max month. The next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we return the value as well. What is the value for the max month? So what I'm going to do now is to add an ampersand here. Then we have to actually, get in the value, and the value should be nothing but max. So max here is going to search for the max value from 2021 over here. So once that is done, we close and we put an ampersand here to concatenate again. So there is something we need to add to create some kind of comma separator. I have not added that right now. It's going to be too much information. I will do that later after all, but just watch it. So the next thing now I want to do is just for me to do here. I want to add collision. So we close, and if I hit my enter key right now, you can see everything is coming together. So there is no separation here, and there is no comma separator. So if I double click over here right now, the very first thing I have to do is to look at where it's starting from. This is June. That June should have been this particular place here. After the max, we just need to actually add here some kind of an ampersand. You see that now? I think so. Yes. So, sorry. Let's see what that's gonna be. Okay, over here, we want to actually add a bracket. So the bracket now will be, we are going to have the bracket. This bracket will actually say, okay, you know what? I want to put my month, this June month, inside, outside the bracket, but this particular number and the collision should be inside the bracket. To do that now, what we need to do to put it inside parentheses is for we to come here. Then once we are here, we are going to do double quotes, open parentheses here, this, and space, then close this and have this here. You get it now? So if I have done this now and hit my enter key, now we have it opened. But the mistake we made is that we didn't push it out from here. So now we just have to go over here and put a space on this particular part. And if you look at it now, this is quietly done right. You get it right now? So once we have done this, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we enclose it right here. So we come over to here where we have our final result right in and have it closed. So we just have to come over here and put in another. So we have to go inside here and have this closed. And if I hit my enter key, this is what we actually have. You see that now? So this has actually created for our what do I call it? Our 2021, and this is exactly what we want. The next thing we have to do now is to create for 2022-23. This is going to be very easy. What I'm going to do now is just to copy everything from here, right, to make it easy. Let's make it simple. So I'm going to copy everything. I think, do I need to do that? Yeah, sure. We can replicate the same exact thing we have here. But before that, let's see. Over here, I want to have some kind of circle on 2021. So when I type in 2021 here, I want to give a space and do Windows key, full stop. We have this. So make sure you're on this one and you're right here. Then you scroll all the way down. You pick up this particular circle that has to do with this red circle here. And the step up from here, if I hit my enter key right now, you might not see the actual result now. let's bring this forward. Can you see it right here? This is what we have, right? This is what we really want to create. So once we have done this now, it's very interesting. So we have something like this. What I'm going to do right now is to actually copy this particular part from here and Control C, right? So I want to come over here and put an equal sign here and paste it down here and hit my enter key. I have the same actual result I have right here. So right now I have to just make sure I move things around. Instead of me to actually return something from here, I'll go over here. I'm going to push this one over to 2022, push this one over here. If I hit my enter right now, I have different values, but there is something I should have fixed before I do this. Let's go over here. So over here right now, this one returns the max value, right? So if this one does return the max value, what we want to do right now, we want to format it and make sure we have comma separator, just like what we're now having here. So we can use the format function with the text function. We're not in Power BI. The text function here. So with the text function here now, what we need to do is to come at the end of this particular text here, max, text, max. So we come at the end of it here. So we put a comma right here, right now. How do we want to, at the back here. So how do we want to format this? We want to format this using some kind of comma separator. So we use ampersand, comma, double it, close, and close this and hit our enter key. So we have to open another one here. So we have this. So let us quickly apply this over here. So this is the max area. Let's go over here. So this is the max area. So start from here and do text, the text function, open it up. So come at the back of the closure of this particular parenthesis, put a comma here inside double quotes, hash, comma, hash, hash. Then you close this, you close, and you hit the enter key. Now you have this. So once we have gotten this right now for 2021, for 2022, we just have to quickly change this one to 2022 manually ourselves. So here we go. We have it. So we just have to make sure we duplicate this same thing over here for our 2023. So we can combine them after all. So we paste this one over here. You double click and you drag this one into here, move it and put it over here, put this over here. And once you do this, you have a different value again. So double click and turn this one to 2023 and you hit your enter key. Okay, we have all this. It is time for we to combine them together. So all I'm going to do now is to combine it using this particular part. I'm just going to copy without the equal sign. So I can just copy this from here. So what I'm going to do now is just come over to this particular part here. So let's move this. So once I'm here now, all I need to do is just to make sure I actually add a line break to it. To add a line break, I just want to do here ampersand. So we do char. So put 10 over here. I'm going to close this right now. So once I've done this, the next thing I'm going to do is to actually add under ampersand again. Then once I've done this, I'm going to paste this one over here. Watch what happens if I hit my enter key. I have the second line. So can you see? It has it duplicated. And here we have for 2021, 22, and we have it here. So to make it simple, we can just go ahead and copy this without the equal sign down to here. And we do the same exact thing over here. You can see how easy it is. So over here, we do ampersand again. So we do the char and put 10 over here. We close the ampersand. So we paste this one over here. If I hit my enter key, I have something like this. Can you see how beautiful it is? This is awesome. Okay, now that we have gotten this, it's nice, but it's not yet done. So if you look at it over here, so we have this particular part that says recommendation. So what recommendation can we give to this? So this recommendation can now be manual based on what we have seen right here. So we have actually, given it the 3 different years and the month June. In 2021 we have June, 22 we have June, and 2023 we have March to be the highest collision month. So what kind of insight can we actually give here? So let me duplicate this one. Do I need to do that? I guess, no. So here I can duplicate it and wipe off what is inside it and type in the recommendation right in it. So the recommendation we're going to give now should be based on what we actually suggest for the teams to actually do. So let's just type in our recommendation here. So I'm going to make this one bigger. Let's just make the text bigger for we to see it so well. So my recommendation now will be some kind of double click to activate the edit mode, so you can type in something here. So what is going on? Step off it. Okay. So I'm gonna click on escape. So right now we should be able to type something here. Oh no. So what I'm going to do now is just to go ahead and take off this from here. So now we have this. We can remove everything from here by typing something on our own. So now I'm going to type in the recommendation I want to give to the end users of this dashboard. So I'm going to say deploy targeted So I don't know if my English is correct. So I just said deploy targeted enforcement, improve road signage, and run public awareness campaign during peak collusion months. So we are focusing on months, but we are doing it for every single year to know which particular month. You can see for 2021 and 2022 is actually consistently on June, except just March, that the month where the year we don't have the complete data right in here. So this can actually be our recommendation. So how do we bring this together and actually have this right on our dashboard? So it is time for me to get this in. So over here, I'm going to copy. Can Control X to cut it. So I'm going to come over here and type in, that is recommendation. So I'm going to paste this recommendation right in here. So this recommendation, I want to have this particular icon right on it. So I can manually get this icon from here, or I can actually go ahead and bring it dynamically in here. So what do I do? So we need to go ahead and go to Window, Full Step. So I think the icon should be found somewhere around here. I don't know where I got this from. So we have the icon here. You can just look around until you found the icon. The icon is among those icons we have here. I don't know the actual place I got it from, but I know for sure you can actually get the icon from here. So now here is it. We have the icon. Can you see it now? So we can just do this. So over here, we go to our dashboard. We're going to go ahead and go to insert, and we insert a text box here. So with the text box, I'm just going to insert it here. I'll click on equals over here. Then we go over to analysis and bring in this here. So we have it here now. So I'm just going to bring this down. So I will have to align it properly. So bring this down. So over here, I'm going to click on this one and just shift it down manually myself. So once I've done that, I just have to make sure everything is showing up here. And here we go. I do something like this. I can just go ahead and reduce this a little bit. So now it contains here for me. So I can just manually fix these things around. So go to the top here, and what you can do is just to change the color. Sorry, maximize it. So make the color to look calm. Let's select something more brighter. So something like this. So year, month, collision peaks. So we have identified it here. But unfortunately, this particular color we have for the circle here shouldn't be. So let us change them. So let's quickly go back to analysis. And now we double click over here. So for 2022, I want to change this here. I can remove it, window, full step, and I'm over here. Scroll down. Then I choose this. So this one for 2023, remove this, Windows, full step. So we scroll down and we go with this particular kind of color. Oh, does it take effect? Let's see that. So now we have the colors here. So the colors almost represent these particular colors right here. I think by now we can now feel like this particular legend should be gone. So now we take our legends off, and with this we can drag this to cover up this particular environment here. So can you see? So the legend here is okay. So if I click on this now, I can Ctrl 1 and have this removed here. So here we go. So it's a detailed dashboard. It's going to take a lot of time to get it done and have something very nice. This is okay. So we have a recommendation. So our recommendation right now, where does it come in? So this recommendation will be for later. For now, let's forget about the recommendation. We're going to bring in the recommendation when we are almost done with the dashboard. It's something that is going to be dynamic, but for the time being, let's still leave it this way. So this is nice. We have just completed this particular path.